Can I tell you something that took me a really long time to admit? Some of my friendships started to feel heavy, and I just couldn't figure out why. There was no big moments, no big altercation, no big fight, no big arguments, just a quiet shift. And for a long time, I felt extremely guilty about it. That's what we're getting into today. Hi, babes. Welcome back to This Is Where I'm At. I'm Alicia Miller-Powell, and this is a space where we talk about motherhood, womanhood, identity, and all the becoming that happens in between. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're not and you're returning, welcome as well. Welcome back. Make sure you follow the podcast so you never miss an episode, because you know we don't do surface level over here. Thank you for rocking with me from day one. Okay, now let's talk. Let's really get into it. I made sure to put on my comfy outfit because after this, I am going to go and work out, but get you a snack. Get you whatever it is that will make you be attentive. If you have to take notes, all right? You know, we're about to get real. Class is in session. So this previous episode, I talked about how awareness can change some friendships. The grief that we feel, the distance, and also, in a sense, like you're mourning a loss, because these are people that you genuinely love and you've seen yourself being friends with them for a very, very long time. So when you find yourself that you're outgrowing them, because, you know, we're constantly evolving, seasons are changing, and the older we get, we learn that it's not everybody that you start with that you will finish with. Some people are placed in our life for a certain season because we needed that and they also needed us in that moment. And, you know, all of that is okay, but there's a certain guilt that we feel deep down inside, because that exists. So I wanted to do this bridge piece just to go a little bit deeper, because of course we all talk about, you know, losing friendships. We've all experienced it, but I don't think we go deep into that guilt that you feel, almost like you've been disloyal, because that's a real thing, right? Or am I the only one that feels that way? Because not only has the friendship changed, it's like you've also changed. You're growing. And then there's a part of you that feels like changing is almost like a betrayal to the friendship, a betrayal to that person. Like, who gave you permission to outgrow this friendship? Who gave you permission to want more? Who gave you permission to want something that's more aligned with the stage of life that you're in right now? Those are all the feelings that arise, and nobody warns you about that. So here's one thing I've come to understand, right? When you do the real work, not the performative kind, right? Your awareness changes completely. There is so much that will arise, so much that you start to notice that you literally cannot unnotice. If you know, you know. Almost in a sense, you almost feel hyper aware. So with that, you literally start to notice when a conversation drains you, and I've experienced that. It completely drains you instead of like fulfilling you. You should walk away feeling like, yes, that was tea. I'm motivated. I feel aligned. So also when you walk into a room, you have an interaction, and completely instantly your gut, your feeling, you just feel down. You're just not feeling the way you're supposed to. When a friendship is one-sided, when you are pouring into a person and in a sense it's not reciprocated, when a friendship requires you to stay small, when another friendship literally challenges you, all of those dynamics you start to take note of. And none of that means that the person is bad. It also doesn't mean that the years didn't count. And it also doesn't mean that the friendship wasn't real. The memories, the bond, the love that was shared, all of that was very real. It just means that you're different now. And here's something that I had to sit with. And I also want you to sit with this as well. Not every friendship is built to hold every version of yourself. Some friendships were built for when you were 17, when you were 23, when you were single, before you became a mom, before that breakdown happened, before you started asking yourself the hard questions about your own life. Those friendships, they actually serve their purpose. And it's completely okay. It is okay to honor them for what they were, instead of trying to force them into something that they weren't, trying to force them into this space of life or stage that you're in. Guilt piece is what gets most of us stuck in a friendship. Because especially as women, we're taught, I'm going to side eye this, We're taught that loyalty means staying, that being a good friend means being consistent, being present, being available. But to me, what about being honest? What about the friendship that you have with yourself? Because at this point, the loyalty factor is going to be causing you to shrink yourself, right? To a dynamic that no longer fits you. And that also then means you are breaking loyalty to your own self, to your own growth. That's a different kind of heartbreak. Because every time you shrink to preserve this dynamic, this friendship, that's a different kind of loyalty you're breaking. One to your own self and one that is stopping your own growth. And trust me, I am not judging because we've all been there. We've all done that. We would try and do the most to preserve a friendship. But do we ever sit back and try to think, how is this also affecting me? Because your body, your gut will literally tell you when you're somewhere that you're not supposed to be anymore, a situation that is no longer serving you. I also know that letting go of a friendship literally comes with a grief of losing. It's almost like a relationship, like a heartbreak. So all of that is real to miss that friendship, miss who you both were before this new level of you got unlocked. That's not weakness. That is also love. You are allowed to have all of these feelings. They're allowed to coexist. But also in the same breath, I have to say that grief and guilt are literally two different things. Grief is saying, I'm sad that this friendship has now come to an end. I'm sad that we've outgrown each other. That also means love. But guilt is something that you're going to then feel like, you did something bad, you did something dishonest, or you're feeling guilty that you've changed. Guilt also says, like you did something wrong by changing, and we don't want that feeling. Let's differentiate the feeling. You did nothing wrong by becoming more of yourself. You honored yourself. You were loyal to yourself. You chose yourself. At some point in life, we hit that crossroad where we do have to choose ourselves and honor ourselves for that next version to fully unlock. I can't wait to hear from you guys in the comments. Let me know if you've ever felt guilty for a friendship ending, and literally how awareness literally changes a friendship dynamic. It changes a lot, because once you see, you cannot unsee it. Literally, once those blinders are lifted off and you're seeing clearly with those reading glasses, it's a whole different ball game. So let me know your thoughts. How has awareness changed you? And if you thoroughly enjoy hearing me yap, sharing my 2 cents, make sure you follow, you hit subscribe, like the video as well. And if you haven't already, we're also on Spotify, Apple, and some other podcast platforms. So normally these episodes actually drop on there every Friday morning before it gets to YouTube. So make sure you follow, leave a rating, and thank you all again for supporting. Make sure you also share this podcast with a friend. This episode, if you haven't listened to the previous episode, it's literally... my brain is just trying to process what I'm trying to say. It's right there. Just click it. I will link it so that they're kind of just cohesive. The more you recommend, the more you share, it actually helps other women find this space, because you just never know who needs these conversations. The in-between of life. We always get to see, the finished product or the starting point, but that messy in-between, this is where we're at in real time. And I am Alicia Miller Powell, your hostess with the mostest, should I say?